Hi, everybody. It's Mary D. Welch. You're here at the Mary D. Welch Show. Nice to see you. I'm sorry, the Mary D. Show anyway. But nice to see you again on every Monday. Every Monday that I'm here, I'm always honored that you're here with me. I'd like to thank you, all of you here for the live show, and thank you, replay viewers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. First, I'd like to thank our sponsors for today's show. It's Nevada Women in Trades, Evelyn Pachenko. She is the president of Nevada Women in Trades. This coming weekend, ladies and gentlemen, they're having their first national. Here it is, their very first national summit. It's this weekend. It's in Las Vegas at the Mirage Hotel. You really want, those of you that are interested in women in trades, you really want to be a part of this. It's so exciting. I'm so happy for them. And that is this weekend. You can get in touch with Evelyn. Her name is Evelyn Pachenko. You can go to the website. It's www.nevada, Nevada, WIT, Nevada Women in Trades.org. And that's where you can go to sign up. Our other sponsor for today's show is First Book Academy, where you go there, firstbookacademy.com. If those of you that want to write your very first book, you go to firstbookacademy.com where you learn to write that very first book. Because you know what it is about books, ladies and gentlemen. The first one is the hardest one to write. So you can go there to write the first book. There's also another website you might be interested in. Let's say you're traveling and you need travel insurance, or you want to book a cruise, or you want to book hotel, car rental, any of those things, you can go to First Fridays Travel, firstfridaystravel.com. You can book all of those things right there on that site. Also, coming October 2nd in Inland Empire, there is a book fair. And you can meet the authors. There's going to be all kinds of books. There's going to be prizes, door prizes, all of those fun things. October 2nd at Crossword Church right here in the Inland Empire. Is from 10 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. And last but not least, those of you that want to get on the email list, you go to marydwelch.com and join the email list. You'll receive email notifications before every show. Every single show, you get an email, and it only talks about the person. It gives you the bio, the information about the person also. So, ladies, gentlemen, do we have a treat for you today? Today, we have Mr. Alton Garrett. Alton Garrett is the managing partner of Garrett Management Group, GMG, and has managed the stages for the National Orange Show, the Citrus Fair. He is for the Orange Show Citrus Fair. He's an expert in the field of entertainment, event planning, and execution. In addition to that, GMG manages the bookings and activities of several bands and musicians. Alton served as the executive producer on recent releases of CDs from one of the managing bands. Mr. Garrett previously served as incident management cadre of on-call responsive recovery employees, or IM Corps, with the Department of Homeland Security, or DHS. I tell you, the man's a wealth of knowledge. He coordinated 25 congressional delegation visits to declared disaster areas. Think about that. Alton serves as the senior advisor to a U.S. Senator, Barbara Boxer. He advised her on matters relative to military and veterans issues. He's a graduate of Cal State San Bernardino University with a master's degree in public administration. I'd like to welcome to our show today, not only a political advisor and a wealth of knowledge, Mr. Alton Garrett. Are you there, Alton?
I'm here. Thank you, Mary. Appreciate it. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you're so welcome. We're so glad to have you. I mean, when I tell you a wealth of knowledge, I mean a wealth of knowledge. You have you have an extensive background in so many different areas. So we'd like to thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, let me ask you. I know, Alton, I know you. I've known you for many years, but many of our people may not know you. Why don't you introduce yourself to the audience?
Well, I'm a retired military. I retired from the military in 1989. I retired specifically from the Air Force as the Chief Master Sergeant. I'm originally from Nashville, Tennessee. Born and raised there, went to high school there and left there and joined the military. Spent 4 years in the Army. Got smart, as I say, and joined the Air Force and spent the next 23 years in the Air Force for a total of 27 years in the military. I arrived in California in 1985 from Korea. at the station at Norton Air Force Base.
Okay.
Stayed at Norton from 85 to 89 and opted to retire in 89 and took a job actually at the National One Show Grounds in San Bernardino. I worked there for a couple, 3 years, and then I went to Cal State to work at Cal State as the director of alumni relations in the College of Business and Public Administration. Um, Got my master's degree while working at Cal State in public administration. Um, Left there after 2 years and kind of did nothing but finish up my master's degree and all, and worked a little bit at the Job Corps Center here in San Bernardino for like a hot month, 2 months, 3 months, and was offered a job in Georgia with Habitat for Humanity. So I packed up and moved to Georgia and took a job with Habitat for Humanity. Took a job as their director of special projects. In that capacity, I served as their meeting planner. I planned and coordinated a lot of events and meetings around the country, and one trip overseas to the Philippines for a build with President Carter was in attendance at that build. And my primary role as the director of special projects was to look into anyone who wanted to come into Habitat as a fundraising arm and assist with fundraising. So I reviewed a lot of different products and did a lot of work with them along those lines. In 2001, Habitat went through some downward turns as far as the philanthropic world was concerned. So I came back to California with the intentions of being retired and all, and found about a job that was in Senator Boxer's office here in San Bernardino, and opted to go in an interview for that job, and they hired me, and I started there in March of 2002, and my intentions were to work a couple of years. And 15 years later, when she decided that she did not want to run again, I left that job and went with Homeland Security and specifically with FEMA, and worked with FEMA for a couple of years, and then I opted to retire. I've had my business, Garrett Management Group, has been in existence actually since 1995. I opened up a company called Garrett Management Enterprises, which was just a meeting planning type organization that assisted people with doing events that they didn't have the inkling of what they were supposed to do. About 2003, I decided to change the name to Garrett Management Group and get into the music business. So at that time, Garrett Management Enterprises became Garrett Management Group. And so we do concerts and festivals and things of that nature. And then here recently, during the COVID, we decided to do some band management. So we manage a few bands and a few artists and such, and still do concerts and festivals and all. And that's what I do.
Right. Well, Al, I mean, just listening to you, it's like, I don't think you ever retired. I mean, before I even say anything else, thank you for your service in the service. You had, 27 years. That's a good amount of time to be in any career. So we just want to thank you for that before I go any further. But
well, thank you.
You said you retired. You never did.
Well, I did. I retired official retirement, and then actual retirement is a different thing. I work for myself now, so if I don't want to get up and go anywhere, I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to call in and say, "Hey, I'm gonna be late," or whatever the case may be. I just don't get out of bed. I just stay in my house or whatever the case may be. So there's a difference in being retired. When I decided to retire from Homeland Security, I was actually home on holiday in December of 2018. And I woke up one day and got up and meddled around and had my computer from the office with me. And I got online to check to make sure that I didn't have to do anything with that, even though I was on holiday. And by the time I got off the computer, I had made my decision that, I'm not doing this anymore. So that's the day that I decided that I was going to retire. So while I was at home on that holiday, I was actually deployed to North Carolina at that time. And I contacted OPM with the personnel management for Homeland Security and found out what I needed to do to retire and when could I retire, because I was ready to retire at the end of December, but they suggested that I give them 60 days. It would be a better transition. So I said, okay, that's fine. So my 60 days were actually up the middle of February or something, but I said, I'll just go to the end of February of 2019. And that's what I did. So that's how my retirement came about, so.
Okay. Well, you said when you started working for Barbara Boxer, it was just initially, before I go into that, it's supposed to be temporary, but we have some comments here because Richard Nichols says, let's see, Richard, I think he said hello. She said, you said hello, Mary and Alton. Hi, Richard. Nice to see you. I'm telling you, if Richard's not here, is something wrong. If Elaine's not here, is something wrong. Okay, Elaine has the next message. Elaine Wilson. Hi, Elaine. How you doing? And Elaine says, Happy Labor Day, Alton and Mary. Looking forward to a great show as usual. Thank you, Elaine. I'm gonna tell you, if you guys aren't here, I think it's something wrong. I just want you guys to know. So I look forward to your comments every week. Then we have now this is a newbie. This is Cheryl Brown. She there for comment. Hi, Cheryl. I haven't seen you on the show. Good to see you. She said, good to see you both. It's always good to see you or hear about you, Cheryl. Anytime. And tell Hardy we said hi too. So I want to make sure I go because I don't want to miss anybody. If you left a comment. And then Richard says, what'd you say, Richard, before we go on? You said, okay, happy Labor Day. Oh, Mary, Elaine, and Alton. Thank you, Richard. Happy Labor Day to you too. I tell you. And next, we have another comment, and it is this from Debbie Franklin. Hi, Debbie. I haven't seen you I don't think I've ever seen you on the show either. I can remember. It says, talk about your work and men's health issues. Well, see, Debbie wants you to talk about that. About men's health issues.
What Mayor Franklin, I think it's still Mayor Franklin or Councilwoman Franklin, whatever. I don't know which one she is now out there in Banning Beaumont area. Right. During a period of time, I served with the African American Health Institute, and we did a lot of work in the prostate cancer arena. Was getting out the information, got that, to convince people that getting an examination for prostate is not the end of the world, but it was good information that we tried to make sure that people know about, specifically Black males, because the incident rate of Black men getting prostate is, it's not if I get prostate, but it's just a matter of maybe when I get prostate. What do I do and how do I manage it? And that's what the African American Institute that we were doing. Dr. Virginia Woods was our leader of that charge and everything. And we did some surveys and all with a lot of people from the community that helped out doing that survey and was able to provide some very good and very valuable information to the community during that time. And thank you for bringing that up, because I had kind of like passed that over, so.
But it's so important. It really is. To encourage people to get checked and have regular checkups. And I see Hardy Brown. Hi, Hardy. Hardy said, Happy Labor Day, Mary and Alton. Alton, what did you do in my state of North Carolina?
I was Hardy. I was the congressional liaison for I think 5 districts, 5 congressional districts in the state of North Carolina, and the 2 senators. Because of my past experience in working with Senator Boxer, they felt that I would be best one to talk to Burris and Tillis, who were the two senators at that time. And then I had 2 or 3 other congressional districts. And what my responsibilities were to those offices were to go and meet with them to explain what FEMA does and can do for them and can do for their constituency, and also to be their person that they can call directly and get whatever answer that they may need with respect to that. Because of the wide range of offices that they had, I learned the state of North Carolina quite well. I think the Burr's office was in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and Tillis has had an office in Raleigh, in Raleigh, and then there was a couple of the local electeds that had offices in other locations throughout the state. And for one time, I was actually positioned in Wilmington. I actually lived in a hotel in Wilmington for about 3 months because the offices that I was working with had offices in those areas down there, so I was there. So I answered a lot of congressional inquiries that came from the constituency from those offices, and also it was my job to find out why your claim hadn't been processed properly, or if it was processed properly, why you did not get the money that you thought that you was going to get. And so I was the buffer,
Okay.
between between FEMA and the constituency, working with their respective elected official.
All right. Well, thank you for that. I know, and then the fact that that Hardy knew about it is telling. As that's what that's really saying is that the work you're doing. Remember when I did the introduction, it was nothing compared to what you really have on your bio, because we didn't even mention that you had been president of the West Side Action Group. You're the past president, I think, of West Side Action Group, that you have been involved in so many community activities in the not to mention, like you said, we got the ones out of state. So when we're talking to you, we're talking to someone that has just a breadth of experience. So thank you for bringing that up. Thank you, Hardy. I tell you, Hardy be on top of things. So thank you. I know we have some more comments here. Let me go on down the line here. We have, before I go on, there's quite a few actually. Let's see, Debbie, you have another comment. It said, did I list someone? Oh, she says, good to see you. She said, it's good to see you. Oh, that's nice. It's always good to see you too, Debbie. Always. And then we have another comment coming down here. It is Cheryl has, let's see, Cheryl, you have a comment. It says, let me see. Okay. Thanks, Alton, for helping St. Paul and me in their past upcoming Share and Care Health Expo, November 20th, and Caregiver Recognition Program, November 21st. All right. That's coming up quick, huh, Cheryl? And thank you again for your comment. Anybody, if you put your comment in, we're going to announce it. We'll announce your name and we'll say the comment. Then we have, and this, I see another comment here. I think that's from Richard is saying, Sheila said, hi, everyone. So hi, Sheila. And then we have Richard. I think this is Richard. Is this Richard? Who is this one? I can't tell. Jonathan Buffon says, and I have to wait till it comes. Uncle Al has the respect of the entire community, an outstanding man of service. Oh, that's wonderful. I agree with you. I agree with 100%. That is for sure. And we have some more comments as I'm coming down the list here. And let's see. It says, thank you. This one. I think it's this one. Did I already put this one up? I can't tell. Oh, I did. Okay. And this is Cheryl Brown. Richard says, hi, Cheryl. And then Cheryl said, hi, Richard. Thank you, guys. Hi, Richard and Cheryl. You guys both. And then this was awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to call the names really quickly so we can honor the people that left the comments. They're Richard Nichols. Then we have Elaine Wilson, Cheryl Brown, Hardy Brown, Jonathan Buffon, Debbie Franklin, Sheila Hardman. I think that's everybody I got. All right. Thank you, each and every one of you, for your comments. Okay. I have another comment from Hardy, I believe, before we go on. And Hardy says, here we go. He says, Alton, what do you see as the most pressing political issues facing Blacks in the country and the Inland Empire communities? I was going to get to that, Hardy, but go.
I think that the most pressing political issues facing Blacks in the country, specifically, is the restriction of voting, and the fact that the people who are in office at present, who may be the majority now, but based on the most recent release of the census data, shows that they have lost maybe 25%, will not be in the majority. But they are trying to instill laws and do the things that they need to do to keep their beliefs and their feelings still out there and make it a mandate as a law to suppress the voting. It's all about keeping the blacks from voting and from being able to properly vote. I think that that is the same thing in the Inland Empire to a certain extent, because we have people who think that because they are the mayor of cities that they are a dictator and they can say and do what they damn well please, because they think that they own the city, because maybe their city council don't speak up and don't pipe in and say what they want to say. The aspirations of the people in local government should not override their desire and their reasons for getting elected in the first place, which is to take care of their constituency. I think that a lot of people start off at the lower level looking for something up the line, and they are looking for a future in politics without first, building a base. Political issues for blacks is, in my opinion, the suppression of voting, the killing of black people, by police departments and all. The fact of the matter is that there's a lot of people that just don't think that that blacks are worth anything. So whatever they do appears to be okay with them and all. And I think that this is across the country. This I think bleeds into a lot of the things that happens in our country is all because of the white supremacist belief and feelings that is out there. Whether or not you want to believe that, you have to believe it. I just read something today where the Constitution in Alabama is just now changing. Just now in 2021, they have to have a discussion to take out the fact that the Constitution says black and colored, white and colored children would not go to school together. I guess the Constitution of the Alabama did not read Brown versus the Board of Education in 1954. So maybe they should send it down there and allow them to read it. So these are the things that we are faced with and continue to be faced with, and these are the things that we have to work as a group to make sure that we do whatever we can do.
All right. Here I come back. I'm back, but I want to make sure the audience truly, truly heard those words and what you're really saying, Alton, is it's up to us. There's nobody going to rush in to save anything. It's up to us to make the difference. I know too. We have a comment from Debbie Franklin. I don't know if it's about what you were just talking about, but she says, do you advocate for vaccinating for COVID? And if you do, what can you say about those who do not want to get the shot? Is the booster necessary? Well, you guys getting serious today, huh? Boy, okay.
I can speak to that from a personal standpoint. Mm-hmm. I can speak to that with the last one about is the booster necessary, because I'm not a medical professional and I have no innate knowledge as to whether or not it is necessary. However, I do advocate vaccination for COVID. I think that vaccinations, I hear a lot of people say that, well, it hasn't been fully tested, the only reason that it hasn't been fully tested is because the newspapers told you that it hasn't been fully tested. How do you know that the smallpox was fully tested before they started giving it to people? How do you know that every single incidence of the flu shot was fully tested before they started giving it to people? You don't. You only know that this one was not fully tested because it's in the news. People were saying, well, they did it in 2 months. People wake up and smell the roses. You know what I mean? coronaviruses is something, viruses have been around forever. There's always been testing on viruses. It's just that you get a name attached to this one, you get a tag attached to that one. I do not think for 1 minute that these people in the labs just all of a sudden in 6 months came up with that. They didn't come up with that in 6 months. They came up with something that they could use after years and years of testing other things. And then they came up with something that they were able to use. I cannot fault anyone for not wanting to take the shot. That is their personal feelings for that. I do fault you, the people who want to take the shot, for the reasons that some of the reasons that they give. And I think that those people who are not taking the shots because they don't think it is fully tested. I just remember reading the situation where the doctor was treating someone in the hospital, and the guy says, I don't want to take the shot because it hasn't been fully tested. And the doctor looked at him and said, well, the treatment that you're receiving hasn't been fully tested either. So do you want me to stop treating you?
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. So really, and I definitely agree. It is a personal decision. Nobody can make you take the shot. Let me just say that. Nobody can make you take the shot. And at the same time, it is a personal decision. The thing of it is, I'll just speak what I've said this before. My cousin, who is a nurse, called and encouraged myself and my husband to take the shot. She said, you guys, you're not young people. And if you were to get this, the chances are you're not going to survive it. So you have to decide what you want to do. She said, I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you what's in your best interest if you plan on keep living, and that is to take the shot. But
I don't think that anyone that says that getting vaccinated for COVID is going to stop you from getting COVID. I think that the word out there has been that to get vaccinated from COVID stops you from having such a serious effect on you. It keeps you from being so sick as the people who did not take it,
Right.
The thing about it is that we live in such a crazy world that I would not be surprised that some of these anti-vaxxers aren't secretly going in and getting their shots anyway, but because how they want you to feel about them and how they don't want their constituency to feel about them, they're out there proclaiming that they haven't gotten the shots. The people talk about all of these different things, but we will never know. We will never know what goes on behind closed doors. We will never know how many doctors has gone into the various homes and given the shots to the entire families, because they didn't have to go into the public. I remember reading a piece just the other day about a conservative influencer, pundit, whatever they're calling themselves nowadays. It's always talking down about the vaccine, but they wanted to go and get a vaccine from a private location so that the public would know that they took the shot, and the private location refused to give them the vaccine. So all of a sudden they wanted to become a victim and said that they wouldn't allow them to take the shot. Well, you've been saying that you weren't going to take the shot anyway because it was all a hoax. So why now do you think that you can become a victim because of that? So let's be real, folks. This is all, not all, but some of this is about the politics. This is all about what they put up in front of you and what they're trying to do. Smoke and mirrors is what this is all about. We need to remove the smoke and mirrors and get down to brass facts. And that's why when I speak about it, I will not speak about anything with the necessity of the second booster or anything like that, because I am not a medical professional and I don't know if a second booster is necessary. However, let me say this, and I will end this conversation about COVID with this. If a second booster comes out and I have the opportunity to take it, I'll take it. If a third booster comes out and they have an opportunity to take it, I'll take it.
Right. Okay. Well, we have a comment. I believe Kim Foster is saying, hello, Alton. It's good to see you. She says, just skip my shout out. Hi, Alton. Good to see you. All righty. Sorry. You know what? I can tell you, Kim, some of them are coming so fast, I can't always catch up with them. I'm trying, though, just so you know. And then we have the other one, the one that came. I don't know if this is before you or after you. This is, and sometimes I end up going back and picking up the same one. So this is Alton. Hi, Debbie. Long time no contact with you. Stay safe. I tell, see, old friends catching up. Let me go back, and this is right here. Let me see. This is another comment, and this is from Debbie. Let's see, Cheryl. Okay. Oh, the deworming medicine people are taking. Deworming. I don't know about that.
Deworming,
Deworming. Okay.
deworming medicine. It's a invectomycin
Okay.
is a deworming medicine that is prescribed for cows and horses,
That's what it
and
says.
then people in various states. In Mississippi has been the big proponent of it. They're taking it because someone said that this is a good thing to take, and there has been some doctors out there that says that they have been treating people with this and it works and everything. Maybe it does, maybe it works. I'm not a medical professional, so I'm not going to try to get into that side of it. But if you're going to take anything over the counter,
Right.
that you can buy over the counter, you should make sure that you go to your primary care physician and find out whether or not it is good for you to take, and whether or not you should or should not take that. That's what I would like to say on that.
Okay. This is from Elaine Wilson. She says, Alton, what are your suggestions to get young people 18 and up registered to vote? And the policies coming down from the pike definitely affect all of us. We need everybody's voice.
I'm not sure what we need to do, but we need to do it. We just don't need to get 18 and up registered to vote. We need to get them to go and vote. We need to make sure that they understand. I think that what has to happen is that there needs to be some education, and the education needs to come from people that they trust. And what you need to do is take the policies that you're speaking about, Elaine, and sit them down and say, this is the policy, and this is why they were able to get this in, because no one voted them out of office, and you need to make sure that they are aware of what these policies are doing. I look at the things that happened in Texas with the Roe v. Wade. I'm sorry, that's a bad word to use there. With the abortion situation, but let's be real. What they're doing in Texas is a direct attack on Roe v. Wade. They're hoping that enough states will follow suit and everything, so they can go to the Supreme Court and get Roe v. Wade overturned. What is happening in Texas is what we're talking about, the policy. What is happening in Georgia with the voter restrictions and everything. Texas has gotten so blatant, with this abortion thing, that if an Uber driver drives a person to the doctor to get an abortion, that Uber driver can be charged. And somebody can turn in that Uber driver and get a $10,000 bonus from them. In Georgia, if there's a long line of people waiting to vote and you give a bottle of water to some people for standing in line that long, then you can be charged with something they call aiding and abetting and interfering with the voting process or something. They need to be aware of this, because a lot of us are older people, and I always use the analogy, we're at the top of the mountain in the process of going down the other side of the mountain. Right. And these 18-year-olds are down here at the bottom of the mountain trying to climb up that mountain. And as they climb up that mountain, all these obstacles are being thrown at them, so that they are having such a hard time getting up to the top of that mountain. They need to know what is facing them. That is why when I talk about elections and I talk about voting, I talk about making sure that you vote from the top of the ballot to the bottom of the ballot. Just because the president of the United States is on the ballot, or that office is on the ballot, and your senator's on the ballot, you need to look at who's running for, and I'm being a little facetious here, you need to look at who's running for dog catcher, and animal control and whatever down below, because these are the people that affect you at the local level. Okay? They're the ones who know and who affect you. They're the ones who administer the laws that are written. Maybe the laws are coming down from here, but they're the ones, and a lot of times they use their own interpretation, because as we all know, who's been around for more than a day, that a lot of the laws are written ambiguously so that people can use their own interpretation of how this should apply. So as long as you have ambiguity in the laws and everything, people will determine what they should do and what they should not do. I just read something here recently where there's something going through the Assembly and the Senate in California where they are trying to change a couple of the states, a couple of the counties in California, that they're thinking about changing and moving the election for the district attorney and the election for the sheriff to coincide with the president. So if they do that, then that means that some of these sheriffs would wind up getting a right off the bat 6-year term. I think that the sheriff of Riverside County falls into this, and I think Villanueva, the sheriff of LA County, falls into that. Believe it or not, they're not in favor of it. But for some reason, they think that by putting all of these voting at the same time as the president, they're going to get more people out to vote. But they may get more people out to vote. But how do you get people to go down the list of 500 listing positions on the ballot and vote for all of those positions? You know, the more you add to a ballot, the less chances that people are going to go all the way down and read all the way down. You
Yep.
get a book, you get a voter's handbook that's
Mhm.
like this, and you keep adding all of these stuff that has to go into a voter's handbook, you're going to have a novella where you can sit
Right.
down and read it over a couple, 3 or 4 days, before you realize what you're going to go voting for. That
Yep.
is what I'm saying. People need to understand that sometimes a lot ain't always good. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? To
Right.
put
Right.
everything in one basket is not what we
Yeah.
need to do.
Well, and I know the longer the list is, the less likely people are to vote because they just look at the ballot, what's going on now in the recall. And I definitely want to get into that. First, I want to mention Sheila Hartman's. She said, only God knows who's going to survive, vaccinated or not. I pray we all make the right decision for ourselves and our family. I want to make sure I announce that comment. But when it comes to, I definitely want to get your opinion on the recall. So I know this is, California, we're right in the middle of it. Those of you that are in other states across the country, we're right in the heart of, we have until September 14th to vote either no on the recall, or if you're voting that the governor should be recalled, then you have to decide who do you want to replace the governor. How do you feel about, let's go on, before I go there, let me go, Elaine has a comment before I get to your comment, Alton. Let's see what she says. She totally agree. Our follow through to make sure they actually vote has to be an active part of our intentional plan. Something has to change because this is a generation behind us. This is and we, I mean, the energy has to maintain. It has to be going forth to fight against the things that are happening to take away the opportunity to vote. And like you said, putting everything on one ballot, that's already confusing the people. But how do you feel about the recall for the state of California? What's your opinion upon that?
I think that the recall is a political grab on the part of the conservatives to get a foothold into the state of California. They can win the governorship through the regular ballot process, so they're trying to start out and to come at it in a different way. One of the individuals who was the first forerunner, out there. I'm going to use the word forerunner, but he was one of the first ones that got out there and had some ads on there. He ran against the current governor and was surely trounced. I think that the current governor got 62 or 65% of the vote, on the past election that they ran against each other. So, for some reason, he thinks that he can come back with a recall election and get him out of office, which they may be able to do. However, I don't think that they were fully ready for another person who showed up a little late to the game, but seems to be running ahead of everybody. So I think that the election is all about creating chaos in the state of California. And a lot of people are not understanding, may not be understanding. And I shouldn't say they are not understanding, but let me just give you some little things here that everybody should be aware of.
Okay.
California is one of the few states in which, when there's a vacancy in the Senate, that the governor is authorized to appoint someone, and he and only he gets to make that decision. As when he did with Vice President Kamala Harris was moved to that position, her seat was filled by the Secretary of State Alex Padilla. Governor Newsom appointed him to that seat. No quim, no qualm, no nothing, because that's what he's authorized to do. Senator Feinstein is our longest serving senator. I don't know. She hasn't said that she's not going to run for the new term, which would be next year. She would be on the ballot next year because I think that's her class in the Senate office that she runs next year when she would go into office in 23. But since something happened to her before that time, and we have a different governor, that governor can replace that person with whoever they want to. It doesn't have to be a Republican or a Democrat or Libertarian. They can say, Mary Welch, we want you to be the next senator from the state of California, and you're the next senator from the state of California. Now, they may get some flack from it, but that's it. There are a lot of offices in the state of California that are non-elected offices. There's a lot of positions on the governor's staff that are non-elected positions. I envision that if Governor Newsom is removed from office through the recall, then every one of those offices that are non-elected positions, the new governor can and probably will ask for their resignation.
Right.
Because that person has the authority to do that.
Right.
Then you may quim and qualm about it and don't want to give up your resignation, but then you get fired. So it's better to resign from an office than to get fired from an office. Now, a lot of those offices require Senate confirmation. Whether he gets the Senate confirmation or not is not what they care about. What they care about is creating chaos in the state of California. Can you see 20 offices in Sacramento without leadership, without anyone helming the steer, without anyone being in charge of that office?
No.
You're gonna have chaos in the office because Sally's gonna say that I've been here for 25 years. I should step into that position. And Susie's going to say, well, I got here just as long as you did. Why don't I be in that position? The new governor has no idea who Sally and Susie are, so he doesn't care. So he can put in whomever he wants to. And does he really care if they get confirmed by the Senate?
No.
Probably not, because it creates the chaos. It creates the chaos that he wants. My whole thing about this recall election is it's not necessarily trying to get rid of Newsom. It's trying to create chaos in the state of California. That is what the word that it's all about. Let's create chaos. Chaos is enough to make the voters start changing their mind and start doing things stupid. Okay. And that's what starts happening. My only thing about the recall in California, and I'm going to speak a little bit about something here that is in the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. The 14th Amendment to the Constitution talks about one person, one vote.
Right.
You don't get one person, one vote with this particular recall, because the persons who are voting not to recall Newsom don't get a chance to vote for Newsom to still remain the president, remain the governor, because he is not eligible to be on that ballot. My whole thing about this recall is this, and this is not a fault of anybody. This is not a fault of Dr. Weber, who is the Secretary of State. This is not a fault of the Secretary of State. This is the fault of the Constitution of the state of California. If we want to do something in the state of California, we need to convince our assembly members and our Senate not to try to rewrite the rules to show how hard it is to become to get a recall for the governor. What we need to do is change the Constitution to reflect that if the governor is recalled, then the lieutenant governor assumes the governorship. The lieutenant governor is an elected person, elected by the people of the state of California.
That's right.
Why do we go out and totally ignore that person for that purpose? If that person just happened to be a she this time, that's why I said she, if she is a duly elected lieutenant governor for the state of California,
Right.
and if Governor Newsom walks out the door and trips and falls and become incapacitated, she becomes the governor.
That's
But if
right.
he gets recalled, she doesn't become the governor. I'm a little don't quite understand why our Constitution is not that way. But I think that instead of the legislature, the Assembly, and the Senate trying to put in new rules on how to do recalls, they should be looking at a constitutional amendment to change the Constitution of the state of California to ensure that if they are recalled, then the person that sits in the lieutenant governor seat will become the governor. Will that stop recall? No. Will that do anything? Yes, it
Right.
will, because that will eliminate a lot of the stuff that goes on, because
Hmm.
we have 58 counties in the state of California.
Right.
And I'm not a budget analyst, and I don't know the amount of money that this costs, but I'm going to guesstimate that each county is spending upwards of $1 million
Yeah.
to do this recall.
That's
So,
what, and they could have used that money to help the homeless. There's so many things that
so
money
as
could
a
be used for.
minimum, we're spending $58 million
That's right.
on this recall. And then, ladies and gentlemen, on this call, that's your money. That's money coming out of the taxes that you have paid, and the this and the that, and your registration on your car, your property taxes, your sales taxes, your whatever. That is your money
Right.
that we are being forced to spend because they want to create chaos in the state of California.
Wow. Thank you for that. And I really like that idea of if there were, in other words, it would automatically go to lieutenant governor. Why it is not like that, I do not know. And I guess that the way they wrote the law. But we have Oliver Welch. Hi, babe. He says, hi, babe. Best show ever. Hope there is a lot of listeners there. And it says TV. I guess that's when you put that on the end. All right. And then we have, I think I saw Cheryl Brown. She has a comment too. And Cheryl Brown has, let's see, Cheryl, here we go. Cheryl says, in Texas, the law says that people can turn in citizens and collect a bounty. That is the same rule as the Fugitive Slave Law of 1850. Citizens are made to turn in their neighbors and collect a bounty.
That is exactly what Assemblymember Brown is speaking to, is that with this new abortion law, you can turn in your neighbor, turn in anyone, and you get a $10,000 reward for turning them in if you know that they went to get an abortion. So that is exactly what that is all about. They're pitting neighbor against neighbor. They're pitting neighbor against neighbor is what it boils down to. The disruption in the state of Texas with this thing is so fast that we will not hear from it or see the repercussions of it from a while. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The fact of the matter is that the Supreme Court did not do anything with it. They just let it go. Makes me wonder whether or not, Roberts has lost his court. He was one of the four, and he's the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Okay. And and it was 5 against 4. But I talked all during COVID, all during that time. I talked about 9, and the 9 that I talked about were the Supreme Court justices. And the fact of the matter is that Justice Ginsburg, was in ill health, was in bad health, and the fact of the matter is that what I had hoped did not come to be did come to be. The past president was able to put 3 people on the Supreme Court, and 3 extremely ultra conservative people on the Supreme Court. So there's a 6-3 split on the Supreme Court. A 6-3 split on the Supreme Court. And that makes a big difference, especially when we are here to Roe v. Wade and some of the other things that we'll be coming up against and everything. That is why people need to look at everything that's on their ballot. And the more stuff that's on the ballot, the less people are going to read on that ballot, because they're not going to go all the way down that ballot. If that ballot winds up being 2 pages,
they're not going to read it.
Sometimes it is 2 pages,
It
But
is.
if they move everything to the same time as
Mhm.
the presidential election, you may wind up with a 5-page ballot, and people are gonna say, oh, they're gonna look at it and say, oh, this is for a judge. I ain't gonna worry about that. I don't care about that. This is for this. I don't care about this. I don't care about the water district. I don't care about this. I don't care about that. I'm gonna do the president, the vice president, and my senator, and that's all I'm gonna do. And that's what we're faced with. That's what we always have the potential of being faced with.
Right. We have John Epps that says, um, what does he say? It says truth will set us free. That's what he said. And then we have Cheryl Brown. She has a comment. Cheryl says, wait, it says recall almost it costs 300. Is it thousand or is it million, Cheryl? I think it's in the millions. I see 300,000, but I think it may be 300 million for what it takes, but it's expensive. It's not cheap to do all this. And then we have Oliver. Oliver has his comment. Okay, Oliver. I can't see it just yet. It says, hi, big. Oh, it says, oh, thank you, Alton, for joining us with your wealth of knowledge. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. And next we have, let me see the next, I just go down the comments. I'm going to stop for a minute here because there's so many. I'm going to go back up to thank every single one of you that made a comment that you have, because I know it takes, you have to type them all in. I think eventually we'll get to where we'll be able to click and you'll be able to communicate back and forth. And they are Richard, Elaine, Cheryl. Then we have Debbie Franklin and Jonathan, Sheila. I'm going on down here. It's who I miss. Hardy, Kim, Debbie Franklin again. Then Oliver. Who did I miss? Did I miss anybody? Okay. I just want to make sure I picked everyone's name. If you made a comment, I wanted to make sure I called your name out. All right. Thank you, each and every one. You say, yes, it is, Cheryl? Okay. I didn't know if that was yes, it is for the 300 million or 300,000. But it's expensive. Let me just say. And if you really think about it, the money could have been used for so many other things. And this is one thing we didn't even talk about. And during the recall, there's going to be election next year, regardless. We're 18 months away from the election anyway, no matter how this goes, from just because of the term of office. So all of this we're a year and a half away. So for what? What was this all for? Does it
chaos? Chaos.
You're right. You're absolutely right. That's what it is, Al. You're right.
It's for chaos. It's for chaos. It wants to. So next year, when the election time comes around next year in November, the question will be, is the person running for governor? If a person wins the thing, the thing that you have to understand is let's really put this recall in focus right here.
Okay.
There is the possibility that Governor Newsom can get 49% of the votes not to be recalled. But because he did not get 50% of the vote, he will be recalled. Okay?
Right.
There are 46 people that are running to take his seat should he be recalled. Folks are not realizing, and maybe they are and not thinking, but there is the possibility that the person who wins the seat to recall to take the seat of the governor could get 20% or 30% or 40% of the vote and become the next governor. That is the problem that people are talking about, the lawyers and the highly skilled constitutional scholars. Those are the people that are talking about one person, one vote. Those are the people that are talking about that. My personal opinion, I think that there is a bevy of lawyers that are sitting back waiting until October the 14th or October, whatever that time is, when the Secretary of State has to certify the election, that as soon as that election is certified, there's going to be lawsuits dropped in every county in the state of California to place an injunction on whomever wins if Newsom is recalled. And I think that is what we are faced with, and that's what people are looking forward to, because that is what the problem is. And the people say, well, Schwarzenegger did it back in 2003 when he ousted Davis. That is absolutely correct. However, Davis had 4 million X amount of votes. Schwarzenegger had 4,800,000 votes. He had almost 800,000 more votes than Gray Davis had.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes a big difference.
Right.
What I'm saying is that if Newsom gets 49% of the vote and Sammy Joe gets 25% of the vote, but that's the most votes that anybody else got, then Sammy Joe becomes the governor with less votes than Newsom got to stay the governor. And that is what the problem is. That is where we're having the problem.
Oh, Cheryl Brown made a comment. She said it's $270 million that was spent on this recall.
Right.
That could have been spent on schools, education, homeless. There's so many things. The unhoused. We have so much that the money could have been used for, but it's on a recall. It does. I'm not gonna say it doesn't make sense. And then she says too. This is from Sheila. Let's see. And I saw that show. I'll go back. Let me do that before I say it. She says 270 million. Okay. And then Sheila has a comment. Let's see, Sheila, and it says on here, thank you, Mr. Alton. Your knowledge is well appreciated. I definitely agree with that, Sheila. And when I tell you someone's well versed on what's going on politically, but what I'd like to do, I'll give you, if there a comment that you like to have before we end this show today, that you like to give everybody to tell them. I know it's one of them to tell them to vote.
Well, yeah, I just want to impress upon everyone that voting is a right, and it's your right and your privilege to go vote. I think that the lack of not exercising that privilege is a detriment to our communities, especially the Black community. I think that we, as adults and senior adults, it is our duty and our responsibility to go out here and educate the younger people. I pride myself in knowing Hardy Brown. I pride myself in knowing Assemblymember Brown, because they are on the forefront and have been on the forefront. And I so enjoy being involved with whatever that they are involved in. And I thank them, because they don't give up, and they are constantly out there pushing. So only thing I can say is, we know where we are in America. We have always been trying to be the ones to get stepped on. It's time to take the knee off your neck and get out there and do what we have to do.
All right. Well, Alton, I'd like to thank you for coming on today and enlightening so many people about what's really going on, that this is not something where we need to stand back. We need to go forward and get as many people to turn those ballots in as possible on the recall for Gavin Newsom. It does take every single one of us. It's not going to be, you can't just leave it up to other people. It's something everybody has to do. So thank you for coming on the show today, and I really do appreciate your time. Let's see. Ladies, gentlemen, we have a couple, before you go, I have a couple more comments that just came in before you leave. As we were talking, they were coming in. Let's see. They are from, let's see, here we go. Debbie Franklin, I believe. Here we go. Before I let you go here, Debbie has a comment, and let's see. And she says, what we need is for people to actively participate and get involved. Thank you for an informative show. You're welcome, Debbie. And we desperately need that. I think people have, and sometimes just sat back and expect things to happen. But the truth of the matter is, all of us are part of this. This isn't just a one-person thing. Everybody that believes in voting no should vote no and turn that ballot in, and make sure you sign it too. You have to just don't turn it in. You have to make sure you sign the ballot too. All right. So, Al, I'd like to thank you again. Oh, I'm sorry. Before I let you go again, you got two more people. Like you said, thank you. Here we are. We're gonna run out of time here, but that's okay. We're running up to the last minute. Elaine has a comment, and then Hardy has a comment. Elaine, we can't go over though. Elaine says, thank you, Alton, for sharing your knowledge and experience. You're always working. And we have one from Hardy. And Hardy has a comment. And then I'm going to have to, sorry about that. Have to go. And Hardy says, and here we go. I didn't read it. Great job, Alton. You did your state of Tennessee good. All right, thank you. All right, everyone. We have to end our show right now. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for coming today. I really do appreciate it. And thank you again, Alton.
All right.
Bye-bye,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thanks for inviting me.
You're welcome. I'll see you guys next Monday. God bless each and every one of you.